Okay, so I just unboxed my new Earthquake Nitro 3.5. I ordered this off of Amazon. The price was pretty good on it. That's the cheapest place I found it. I was wanting to get either a 1/8 scale or a 1/5 scale, but because of my budget, this is what I could to get in the 1/8 scale, and I wanted to make sure it was something big. And the size of this thing is massive for what it cost. I was very pleased with how big it was and how girthy it looks. This thing is a serious machine. I put no aftermarket parts on this. That exhaust looks aftermarket and it's not. Basically what you see right here is what you get. Now they got a few different body styles for this. They have a semi one and this body style right here, and then it comes in a couple different colors. Like I said, you really no need to buy any aftermarket parts right away for it. It's got liquid shocks. The tires are just, I mean, here's my hand, and I got pretty good sized hands. That's the tire, Hex tires and rims. They're no pushover. They're really meaty, and they go pretty good on the road too. So I ran a tank of fuel through it. Had no issue starting it. Need to run 5 tanks of fuel through this to break it in, just like any other RC vehicle. It comes with a transmitter, which doesn't look like it's much, but you lift this up here, and you have all your settings. So it's actually not too bad of a controller. 2-channel. This thing's got a huge tank on it. My first tank, it took me nearly 20 to 25 minutes to run all the fuel out of it. I couldn't believe how easily this thing started though. Like, I mean, primed it a few times. You put your finger over the exhaust here, and then you pull the pull start, which is located right there. You pull it roughly 10 times, like the manual says. The manual's pretty spot on this as far as starting it up and everything. Now I did have to reroute the fuel line here because I did not like how the fuel line was set up. The fuel line actually ran right through here and was touching up against the motor. I didn't like that because the motor gets around anywhere from 160 to around 220 degrees. That's normal operating temperature for these. I just felt it could possibly melt that, so I moved that. It does have in here, I don't know if you can see them that well, but right in here is clips for the fuel line to run through. So it runs, I just ran it up over underneath the air filter. They come over the air filter right here. And right here, both of them do. So I just rerouted them underneath. I think that'll alleviate any problems of possibly melting the fuel line. So that was the only issue that I seen with it. One thing that I did have to do, unboxing it, I always do this every time I buy a new one. I will go through and tighten everything. Everything was semi-tight, but there was a couple that were loose, which is normal. That's really about it. Batteries go in here. That takes 4 AA. Now, the one thing I did not like about the receiver, the controller, is it holds 8 AA batteries. That is a lot. A lot of the newer ones, like the Traxxas models and stuff like that, they run off of 4. Now what I did is on Amazon, I bought 16 rechargeable AA batteries, and you only actually need 12, but it's always good to have extras, especially for the truck, because the vehicle will use batteries a lot quicker than what the controller will, just because it's running a lot more. It's actually running the steering, the throttle, and all that, the braking, so it's constantly getting used as you're driving it around. So it is a good idea to have extra batteries with you at all times while you're playing with this. I did have to buy a starter kit. This does not come with a starter kit, which includes a couple of wrenches like this, Phillips and a flathead screwdriver, a fill bottle, and it's always a smart idea to get a temperature gun. Okay, these things are very, very handy, and they are very inexpensive. They can be expensive. I got this at Tractor Supply store for, I think, 14 bucks. It's every bit as good as the one I work with every day at work, and that is a high quality one. It is within a degree, so you do not need to go out and spend a bunch of money on a heat gun. Be careful, because online you can get hit for $50 or $60 for one of these, and there's no need to spend that much. So it comes with the manual and everything. Follow the instructions in here so you do not damage the motor. The last thing you want to do is spend close to $300 and blow up your motor. These things, they're not really covered that well. You will fight to get any replacement parts for them. You will end up actually probably just getting sick of it and buying your own and spending your own money, because it is that much of a hassle to try and get replacement parts. So definitely follow the instructions on this stuff. Yes, they're big toys basically, but they are very expensive toys, so don't waste your money. I actually was surprised with this body that came on this, on how it looked and everything. Let me get it on here, sorry. I'll kind of get it set on there the best I can. But it really makes this thing look tough. It really does. And my phone is doing no justice for the size of this vehicle and how big it is. Here is a lighter, a regular size lighter. That'll give you an idea of how big this thing is. It is a total monster. I'm very impressed with the money that I spent and on how this thing operates already. I've only ran 1 tank of fuel through it, like I said, and it sounds great, started up great. Had no issue starting it. These are very easy to flood though, just like any other RC truck. Follow the directions, because what happens when you go to start these, you plug it here, and then you go to pull on the cord until fuel starts going through the line. It's very hard to see the fuel start going through the line, so you got to watch very closely. If the string gets too hard to pull, that means you are flooded, and it doesn't want to pull. What I do is I took the line off of right here. I popped that off and then pulled it a few times. The fuel came out of there, or you can take the glow plug out of the top, pull it a few times, and then that'll relieve the fuel in there, because they're very, very tight in here. Too much fluid will cause everything to seize up very, very easily and very, very quickly. So once again, follow the instructions. Don't hurt your motor. And you can also break this pull string right here, which these are like 15 to 20 bucks for a good one. Online, I know it don't seem like a lot of money, but to get to that, to take it apart, you have to disassemble the whole rear end. So you don't want to break that. That's basically it. I'll post another video as soon as I can, once I've broken it in and everything. Everybody knows the break-in process. 5 tanks is what they recommend. The first tank, let it idle. The second tank, you no more than quarter throttle, run it around. No more than quarter throttle though. Third tank, no more than half throttle. Same thing, run it around in circles. Do a figure 8. A lot of people do that. Fourth tank, 3/4 throttle, and then you can, after the fourth tank, and you go to run your fifth tank, you can actually start tuning. And one more thing, do not tune these unless the motor is hot. Do not tune them if they are cold. You will get nowhere. You will chase your tail. You can harm the engine and ruin it. And one more thing, right out of the box, I did not have to do no tuning. The factory does tune it, so they make it run a little rich, and they kind of idle just a little high. That is for good reason, to get plenty of lubrication to the motor as the motor is setting in. So I didn't have to mess with any of the settings, which I'm talking about the high-end needle and the low-end needle, which is right down in here. So, like I said, I didn't have to mess with any of them. You shouldn't have to. You should be good to go. So that about does it. I'll see you guys when I post another vehicle. This is, by the way, the Earthquake 3.5 by Red Cat Racing. So far, so good. Have a good day.